Be honest. How many times have you gotten to the end of a game, thought you had the game won, and then gotten this screen? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate to that. So I'm going to show you guys some patterns that you can learn that will ensure that you'll never stalemate again, and you'll turn those games that used to be draws into wins and start winning more games and raise your elo. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright guys, so the first pattern I want to take a look at is the king and queen versus king mate. So this is going to be like the most common pattern you're going to see at the end of your games. Generally in games come down to you need to push a pawn, promote. You're ending up with the queen a lot of the time, just their lone king. And many times people will just resign, but sometimes you got to play it out, so you got to know this. Basically, the key to this mate is we want to cut the king off. So let's see if I make a move like this. The king, from now on, cannot travel across the board down here. This queen's cutting him off on this line and also on this line. I won't really draw arrows all the way. Basically, the key from here, this is one way to do it. There's there can be some faster ways in certain positions, but the easiest way, and one of the ways that people teach beginners when they first learn to checkmate this way, is wherever the king goes, you just want to follow it a nice distance away. And when I say nice distance, it's exactly what it sounds like. A knight can travel here. God, I'm having trouble with these arrows. Here. So right now the queen is a knight's distance away. So once we do that, we just want to follow the king wherever he goes. Just copy his moves. So king just went to d7. We'll just follow him to b6. Go in the same direction he went. Let's say he goes this way. We follow him this way. Just say he's been stubborn. We'll do this again. Eventually he's gonna have to go back. So let's just say here. And from here we can't. I mean, he did go diagonally. Never mind. But at this point, the king is cut off completely. So he's stuck on the back rank. And at this point, you just want to bring your king. So make a move. Just bring your king up. Make a move, whatever. And this is where people struggle, is figuring out. I mean, here really it's super easy, but you just gotta get your king here. But some people they start giving random checks because they're not really sure exactly how to get them in position. But generally, this is what I found playing a bunch of games. The best way to do it is, like I said, get the king cut off, and then depending on which side of the board you're on, you want to get your king on one of these four squares. So f6, f3, c6, or c3. If you could do that, you're basically just gonna have a mate. So here, as the engine says, the line is king f6. No matter where he goes, you're gonna have a mate in one. So here, e8, you have queen e7 mate. If he goes to g, you have queen g7 mate. So yeah, I mean, where beginners struggle or where people mess up is they don't know the pattern. They don't know cutting them off. They don't know what the knight's move. So they'll just start giving checks. Something like this. Oh, let me check him again. He starts running again. I don't know. Let's keep checking him. They don't really know how to contain the king, and so the king's just running. Even here though, the engine says made 5, but it's very easy to go wrong. Like, let's say for instance we start bringing the king, I don't know, here. They're like, oh, okay, I want to get in position here. It's very, and then the people are like, oh, I see a mating square here on c7. Let's get our king in to protect, and that's a stalemate immediately. Obviously the eval, I don't know if it's on the camera on my OBS settings right now, but it just drops straight down to the middle because it's a draw. And I'm sure you've seen this pattern. You do not want your king and your queen together like this in these situations. You want to get your king. The king's on the right square, but the queen should not be here. It should be cutting off the king on that 7th or 2nd rank when you do this. But yeah, that's the pattern. Just we go back to the beginning. Simply cut the king off wherever he goes. here we're already at knight's opposition, so we just bring the king. King goes here, just follow him. King goes there, follow him. Once he's cut off, just bring the king. Bring the king up to one of those corner squares, and you have a mate. And once you learn that, you'll never have to worry about stalemating in this kind of position again. So now I'm just going to move on to the next position we'll talk about. Okay, so this is probably one of the easier checkmate patterns, and I'm sure many of you already know this, but this is something that's, what you're going to do here is something called the ladder mate. So we have two rooks here, and obviously each rook cuts off the king. What we want to do is get our rooks, far away from the king, and basically push him up the board. So let's say, for example, he tries to come chase our rook, just bring it back. This one's very simple, not too much to explain, and that's mate, for instance. You do this with a queen as well. Let's say one of these was a queen. Let me see if I can actually set that up. Let me refresh, set up a position. It's the same thing. It's a lot easier than just doing the queen mate. It's a lot faster as well. So we bring these pieces in, and similar thing. You kind of just cut off the king, and from here, as long as your queen is behind is the one supporting the rook and not the other way around, then you're good. You can pre-move it just all the way up the board, and there's nothing they can do. What you don't want to do is, and I've seen people mess this up, is they'll have their queen in front, so they're like, oh, I know the pattern. Let's just start checking them. He moves here, and they just kind of lackadaisically, not really thinking about what they're doing, play this move, and here the king can just take. So I don't know why what the engine's doing right now. It's kind of drunk, but oh, I guess, I mean, it's still winning technically, but you don't want to get your queen taken like that. So just make sure your queen's behind, and then you can literally just pre-move up the board. So sometimes you'll see those super fast players playing bullet, pre-moving. A lot of times it's simple patterns such as like this one, all the way up the board. So yeah, that's the ladder mate. Very simple, very simple. Not much to talk about there. Basically, just king follows, bring the rook back behind, and you'll be good. Okay, this position. This is the next one I want to talk about. This is just the king and rook versus king. So, the one we just talked about was probably the easiest mate. This one's easy as well, but people still mess it up if they don't know the pattern. Basically, and you'll notice a lot of these patterns, what they have in common is not necessarily always checking the king, but having him cut off. So here, what the rook's doing, its job is it's keeping the king contained. It can't pass this rank, basically. And what the king is doing is similar thing, basically. So let's say we play this move. If the king wasn't in this position, in opposition is what we call it, when they're right across from each other. If they weren't in opposition, then let's say, I don't know, here we try to check, then the king can come back around. We don't want that. We want to keep pushing the king back. The key is to push the king all the way back to the back rank, just like the queen mate. So here we want to do, we're already in position. We want to get these two guys, these two kings in opposition. Once they're in opposition, we just check. And now, since this king is guarding these two important squares where the king would like to go, the king is forced to go back. So they might go back, follow your rook. Here you can just follow the king. You might go attack your rook. Just bring it back. And at this point, they don't want to go back here, because then we do what we did before. So they'll probably do something like this if they're more resilient. And here, we just follow the king. We just follow the king. Because again, if he goes back, then we check him and push him back. So he'll go all the way back here. Once we get him pushed all the way back to this rank, then he'll be forced to come back, and we can keep doing the pattern. So you're just gonna keep doing this all the way up. So he'll go back, he might do this. Bring the rook to the other side of the far side of the king, wherever the king is going, because here he comes back. Actually, it's a little bit more complicated here, actually, because we check. He might come back and attack us, but even then, we just bring our rook back to the other side of the board. He can't touch us. He's still cut off. He'll make a move. We bring it up, all the way back. Again, if he steps on this, we push him back again. Now he's in the back rank, and once he's in the back rank, you're almost there. You just continue to do this pattern. So, say here, this is an example where you kind of want to waste the move, because let's say if we followed him with the king, he can just keep, he can just move back, and we really don't want that, because then it's gonna, it's fine, but he's just gonna go this way and chase our rook. We're gonna have to move our rook all the way to the other side. So here, we want to make kind of a waiting move, force his king to move, because again, if he ever moves back this way, then we just simply check and win the game. So we can just waste a move with our rook, because again, this king is cut off. So once he's moving this way, then we're good. We just follow him like we did before. If he doesn't want to get checkmated, he has to keep going this way. Just keep going this way. Eventually, he has no other choice but to move this way, and then we have a mate. So pretty simple, but easy to mess up if you don't know the pattern. Like, for instance, I've seen people, lower rated games, or lower rated people that maybe don't know the pattern. They'll start doing something like this, for instance. They don't really know what to do. They don't know the pattern. Here. After a while, you may still be able to get him to the corner of the board, but we really want to know the technique here so we can do it every single time. So again, if we want to get back to the original position, let's make it even more difficult. That was kind of, let's see, put a rook in, put the king in, and here we're gonna have to do a little more work to get in position. Here, what I would do first move is simply cut the king off, and he may come after your rook. Just defend it, or maybe a better move would probably be to move the rook away. But here we can do what we did before. Here, I don't know, if he goes here, we can waste the move. He's got to go this way. We just follow him. Boom. Boom. Just follow him down the board. If he ever comes back, we just check him. He goes back. Just go to the opposite side. Just follow him. Just follow him all the way. If he comes back, we made him. So learning that pattern, you'll never struggle, never run out of time. You'll never, squander a winning opportunity, because you know the pattern. And once you learn these patterns down pat, they're just automatic, and you can start playing very fast. That's where the pre-moves come in. But yeah, that's another pattern you got to know for sure. This is one of the last really basic mating patterns that I want to talk about, and this is probably the one that you'll see the most, at least at lower levels that'll come up, is it's called the Backrank mate. And the reason why it's called that is because this king is stuck in the back rank, and if there is a way we can check him, and I'll get to that. But let's say, for instance, here the black, in this situation, I'm imagining with a pawn was where this black rook was. So black rook abandoned its post, guarding the back rank here to take this pawn. The problem with doing that is now we can simply checkmate. It's checkmated too, because this king has nowhere to go. It's stuck in the back rank, so you got to bring the rook back, and then it's just mate. And this is something that I'm sure you've lost to, and the way to never lose to a back rank mate like this is, at some point before you go gobbling pawns, what black should have done is really, let's just make a random move. I don't know. Black needs to make some lift here. We say lift, it means just room for the king to escape. So now the same thing doesn't work because the king can escape this king. So and here white should do the same thing because they're at risk of getting mated themselves. Let's say like, oh, let's just keep pushing this pawn. They get mated themselves. So back rank is another huge pattern you should know, definitely. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching. Those are just a few of the basic mates. There's definitely plenty more I can discuss in a later video, like Bowden's mate or Anastasia's mate, things like that. But just for this one, I just really wanted to cover the really basic ones you guys got to know. And hopefully in the future, because of this, you guys won't stalemate anymore, or at least less. And you'll win more games. You'll just get those patterns in your memory. So you don't have to worry about it anymore. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting better with every video I make. Just constantly improving. So I definitely want to know what you guys think and your feedback, and let me know down in the comments below what you want to see more from me, and I'll try to get out for you guys quick. So yeah, just like and subscribe, and hope to see you guys soon. Peace.